So we've studied all the prior proposals for the site, especially as to traffic circulation into and out and around the site, and our proposal takes the best idea of those from those past studies as to what can be done to direct most of the traffic to Miller Lane and to the LIE Northern Parkway points of access for those who don't live right adjacent to it. And we looked at ways we can ensure Robbins Lane works optimally for getting into and out of Syosset Park conveniently and safely for locals, as well as bypass needs for some of you just wanting to get across the rail line and down to the LIE without getting caught here. We want to make it easily accessible for you, the locals. And for those coming from a distance, it's pretty simple. We're going to pull them in off this direction off of Miller. This is a 2-lane but 1-way continuous loop all the way around. And it takes them back out, and we'll have a signal here that allows them to head on their way this way or this way. They don't have to make any left or right turns. That's essentially the primary route that we're going to direct all of, if you will, the through traffic. Now, we'll still have access to these points for people coming through this way. We'll create a double left turn here. We won't let them make the turn here. We'll give plenty of room for people to get here, and we'll add additional lane through this way to bypass all of that. For people coming out, you won't be able to make a left turn and clog this up. You have to come here to make a left turn out. So these become really the local secrets where everybody knows that's what they're supposed to do. And anybody who is coming from Massapequa or further, they come this way, they're going to go this way, they're going to head out, and they're going to go home. So coupled with the mix of uses and minimizing what we think is the heftiest rush hour traffic, in other words, like an office park, we think we're dramatically reducing the potential traffic-related impacts here versus those single-use by right alternatives. But again, we ask you to weigh that for yourself. And considering all the things you need to have on property, further reduces the traffic movements that you'd have versus if, say, these were individual properties lined up next to each other, kind of in Westbury, Garden City along Old Country Road. So what does that mean? The office employees, they don't have to get in their car to go out to lunch or to pick up a few things before, during, or after work. For hotel guests, they don't have to leave the village to go to a restaurant or see a movie or get up and go run for a jog in the morning in the park. And for the residences who live here, not having to get in a car to go get basic groceries or pick up an extension cord. It doesn't happen very often, except in those original walkable village and hamlet centers that exist here. So certainly not along the retail boulevards that have kind of been built since the 40s and 50s that crisscross much of Long Island, where the parking lots of adjacent businesses don't even connect. Again, something we ask you to think about. So again, a third of the site was set aside for public park uses, but we see it's more than just, if you will, fields and the like. You could have not only your tournaments, but pumpkin patches and the like, and perhaps a home for farmers markets or marketplaces, places for holiday celebrations, even component elements might have for a wedding type of a setup in this location. And we could have, again, paved it, but we think creating this charming, walkable, and more tight, compact, more expensive to build parking, and freeing this up is really what we think the best way to bridge and have this become that nice little nugget of a town center, but really embrace everybody around here with a great public benefit. And really, in our minds, enhance the surrounding Jericho and Syosset community beyond just your fantastic school districts. So again, it's not an office park, it's not an industrial business park, and it is absolutely not a mall. So let's talk about timing. You all have spent about 2 decades challenging what had been proposed before. So we didn't come to you presenting something we felt would be way out of sync from the best of the other alternative development, if you will, existing mixed-use villages on Long Island, or that we did not intend to deliver on if we have your support of something like what's proposed. We took direct guidance and we listened to town officials early on in our dialogue with them what was acceptable and what was not before they would even consider a proposal. And their primary guidance, the primary guidance from the supervisor was bring this mixed-use idea back and work with the community. Solicit their feedback, then bring it into the town for consideration. And that's what we're doing. So again, this would still be a long-term plan to implement. We have town planning and environmental reviews to go through, seeker documentation. We have town board consideration, then afterwards we have to go to the county for subdivision processing and additional approvals. We have to work with the local utility providers and other federal, state, and local government authorities just to review and process the plan. Then we get to start drawing building plans, and then we get to process those through the town building department and other jurisdictions just to pull permits. So it's going to be a number of years before we even get the first phase open. And that's reality. Even if everybody here said, let's do it today, that's reality. It's still going to be a number of years before the first phase is open. And needless to say, especially with all of this for sale housing, it's a multi-year patient build-out. What I can tell you is will be our intent to deliver the park in the very first phase, as long as we can work with the town on their transition for their facilities to other locations in town. And we know once they have a plan they know the community can embrace, with a solid financial basis the project can deliver, which will provide a much-needed tax boost that this town needs. They are prepared to move on that front, and we think this has the bones potentially to be that project. So again, that's our vision. We hope tonight's the start of a healthy dialogue with you and our neighbors. We intend to come back sometime middle May and have a further discussion with you all, explore some of the issues that are brought up tonight, and get into more detail on certain of the pieces. But really, this is an introduction. There's so much here. To try to run through it all in one night is just irresponsible, and it's not very respectful to you. We also have, again, a website that goes live tomorrow and a Facebook page that went live as of last Thursday, so you're absolutely welcome to use that as a forum for questions and thoughts. And again, we'll expect to have at least another set of meetings in June, and then we'll see what happens after that. If some of your friends and neighbors are not able to be here tonight, we'll do a brief summation at the next set of meetings at the start, so they get a smaller version of this up front and they can catch up. And a lot of these materials will be immediately posted on the Facebook page and the website, so all of the images and the things here and the site plans will be available for the public to look at. We're trying to be very transparent. We may not have answers to every question or agree with every suggestion, but we'll make the effort and we'll be responsive and forthcoming. We'll listen. We'll take the important resonating thoughts that come out of the community process and we'll integrate that to the degree we can so that this becomes a reflection of your community and neighborhoods. But also understand, we bought the town property and former Cerro Wire site to finally do something great with them, commensurate with the premium cost to buy the land, and to ensure to you at a traditional enclosed mall or something perhaps even less of what you'd like would not be built here. And we believe what we're proposing is a mixed-use alternative development that we think is right, and something that 50, 100 years from now will be just as interesting as the day it's completed, and ensure really solid property values for everyone who lives nearby, as you see around those wonderful little hamlets of Oyster Bay, Roslyn, Cold Spring Harbor, and even Garden City. So we'd like to build something like this. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's work together. Thank you.